Everybody enjoyed their day yesterday? Sure, the volume was up. I tried to sleep the majority of the day yesterday. I got in some good sleep. I ain't gonna lie. I did much of nothing. Nothing at all. I probably took like 7 naps. I probably needed it. I know I really needed it. I really did. Yes, that was very peaceful. Shalom, shalom, mother. Shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. Oh, yeah. Prep time. I still got like 3 minutes. Okay. All right. Everybody that showed up early during prep time. Remember, I said I was going to start coming on about 5 minutes early. Josiah, shalom. Grand Rise. I'm Belinda Brown. All right. Woohoo. For everybody that showed up for prep time. We'll start at 7:15. Okay. Oh, that's what I need to put up here. Sometimes my pages and stuff, I need to get all that straight instead of doing all that clicking. Page. Okay. My beautiful people, it is raining out here in Virginia. We'll be out here looking for this the new moon today, so I'll be running in and out, just kind of checking on it. Hopefully, it's not raining. I know exactly where to go to. Hopefully, I get it right this time. All right, got that right there, ready to go. Okay, scroll on down. All right, that's right. Okay, beautiful people. We got one more minute. Let me go ahead and suggest this. Probably go ahead and bring Facebook on over here to this side. All right. All right, beautiful people. All right, so let's go ahead and bring up this here shimmer. All right, beautiful people. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Some of y'all about to go into the weekend. Y'all gonna have 2 more days off, especially if you observe the Sabbath. Blessed be the most holy for them extra days of rest that you may be getting. Greetings, Uncle Nathaniel. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Thailand. Hey, girl. Hey. All right, beautiful people. So let's do the shema first. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, He is one God. And you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah, our God, for our good always, that He might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments that He has commanded us. Okay, beautiful people. So today, let us backtrack just a little bit, because I don't know if y'all went back Wednesday and read in the comment section on YouTube and pinned it. As I watched the video later that day, I realized I made a mistake. Remember, after I got done reading the Bible portion, I was like, wait a minute. Did I already read the other chapters? I didn't read the other chapters. What happened, there was a little I don't know, maybe a little flick of my wrist or something like that. And I skipped to the last chapter for that day instead of the first chapter for that day. So when we got done reading it and when it prompted me to go to the next chapter, I looked at it, I was at 28. And I looked over and I saw that 27 was the last chapter for the day. I'm like, oh, we must have already read it. And I'm just like, okay. And I just skipped on over to the Legends of the Jews, right? But in fact, we had not read it. I started on the last chapter, which threw me off, right? So because of that, I'm going to backtrack and we're going to go back and we're going to read 25 and 26 today. We're going to leave 20. I was going to do 28 tomorrow, but I forgot how long the reading was today in the Legends of the Jews. So we're going to put that with its partner where it should have been at, right? It's just pushed out an extra day because we'll have 3 days left with 3 chapters each day from the book up to for the book of Numbers. Then we'll start in Deuteronomy, y'all. Okay. So Numbers chapter 25. When the Israelites were camped at Acacia Grove, some of the men defiled themselves by having sexual relations with the local Moabite women. Remember, Wednesday, was it Wednesday? It was either Tuesday or Wednesday where I brought out the fact. I was like, wait a minute. It's something I just noticed. Although they were in the wilderness, they were actually settling in amongst other towns as they was passing through the wilderness area. So it wasn't just desert, although a lot of it was, but there were actually towns that were spread out through the different places in the wilderness that they were passing through. And a couple of the towns they actually took over and settled in. I was like, wait a minute. It caught my attention because I've been doing more research on like the wilderness and how you would say he was gonna bring us to the wilderness again. But then there's like other scriptures, I believe it's in Isaiah, that talks about he's going to bring us into the wilderness of the people, and then he's going to deal with the rebel among us. I'm like, okay, the wilderness of the people. What does that mean? The wilderness of the people. I'm like, okay, is it us, a big group he's gonna bring together, and we're gonna be like the wilderness in the wilderness, and we're the people, or the wilderness of the people? Is he gonna deal with us amongst like the other nations and stuff that I'm still looking into all that to see exactly what that means, right? But I noticed that they were in the wilderness of the people, right? So there were other people that were actually spread out through this wilderness. I'm like, oh shoot, right? So it just had me start thinking in another direction, actually including more information on what that wilderness experience exactly might entail, right? So that was it. Okay. So I was only at verse 1, so let me just read it again. When the Israelites were camped at Acacia Grove, some of the men defiled themselves by having sexual relations with local Moabite women. These women invited them to attend sacrifices to their gods, so the Israelites feasted with them and worshiped the gods of Moab. In this way, Israel joined in a worship of Baal of Peor, causing Yahuwah's anger to blaze against his people. Yahuwah, excuse me, Yahuwah issued the following command to Moses: seize all the ringleaders and execute them before Yahuwah in broad daylight, so his fierce anger will turn away from the people of Israel. All it takes is one good public flogging. That's what my mama always say. And everybody else gonna fall right in line. Get the ringleader. Everybody else gonna watch like, oh shoot. So Moses ordered Israel's judges, each of you must put to death the men under your authority who have joined in worshiping Baal of Peor. Just then, one of the Israelite men brought a Midianite woman into his tent right before the eyes of Moses and all the people, as everyone was weeping at the entrance of the tabernacle. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar and grandson of Aaron the priest, saw this, he jumped up and left the assembly. He took a spear and rushed after the man into his tent. Phinehas thrust the spear all the way through the man's body into the woman's stomach. So the plague against the Israelites was stopped, but not before 24,000 people had died. They got in trouble because they were chasing after booty. Look, and while Yahuwah was breaking out against them, dude was like, come on, I'm going to get this last one in. You know what? Eleazar's grandson saw him. Phinehas, son of Eleazar and grandson of Aaron. Okay, he was the grandson of Aaron. He saw this. He said, Yahuwah is here. You still gonna? He said, he topped up, grabbed his spear, went right in there, bop, got him, and got her too. She was right. He got her. It said it pierced the woman's stomach. So either they were standing up close, face to face, they was kissing or something or hugging, or they was in a horizontal position to where she was struck with a spear right through her stomach when he got to. Either way, they both got DEAD. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, Phinehas, son of Eleazar and grandson of Aaron the priest, has turned my anger away from the Israelites by being as zealous among them as I was. So I stopped destroying all Israel as I had intended to do in my zealous anger. Now tell him I am making my special covenant of peace with him. In this covenant, give him and his descendants a permanent right to the priesthood. For in his zeal for me in Yahuwah, he purified the people of Israel, making them right with me. The Israelite man killed with a Midianite woman was named Zimri of Salu, the leader of a family from the tribe of Simeon. The woman's name was Cosbi, and she was the daughter of Zur, the leader of a Midianite clan. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, attack the Midianites and destroy them, because they assaulted you with deceit and tricked you into worshiping Baal of Peor, and because of Cosbi, the daughter of a Midianite leader who was killed at the time of the plague, because of what happened at Peor. All right, head to the next chapter, Numbers chapter 26, the second registration of Israel's troops. Stay with me, y'all. We're doing another count. All right, so don't zone out on me. Just listen, pay attention. After the plague had ended, Yahuwah said to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, from the whole community of Israel, record the names of all the warriors by their families. List all the men 20 years old or older who were able to go to war. So there on the plains of Moab, beside the Jordan River, across from Jericho, Moses and Eleazar the priest issued these instructions to the leaders of Israel. List all the men of Israel 20 years old and older, just as Yahuwah commanded Moses. This is the record of all the descendants of Israel who came out of Egypt. These were the clans descended from the sons of Reuben, Jacob's oldest son. The Hanokite clan, named after their ancestor Hanok. The Palu clan, named after their ancestor Palu. The Hezrite clan, named after their ancestor Hezron. The Carmite clan, named after their ancestor Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. Their registered troops number 43,730. Palu was the ancestor of Eliab, and Eliab was the father of Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. This Dathan and Abiram are the same community leaders who conspired with Korah against Moses and Aaron, rebelling against Yahuwah. But the earth opened up its mouth and swallowed them with Korah, and fire devoured 250 of their followers. This served as a warning to the entire nation of Israel. However, the sons of Korah did not die that day. These are the clans descended from the sons of Simeon. The Jimilite clan, named after their ancestor Jemuel. The Jemanite clan, named after their ancestor Jamin. The Jachinite clan, named after their ancestor Jachin. The Zohorite clan, named after their ancestor Zohor. The Shaluite clan, named after their ancestor Shaul. These are the clans of Simeon. Their registered troops numbered 22,200. These are the clans descended from the sons of Gad. The Zephonite clan, named after their ancestor Zephon. The Haggite clan, named after their ancestor Haggai. The Shuite clan, named after their ancestor Shuni. The Oznite clan, named after their ancestor Ozni. The Erite clan, named after their ancestor Eri. The Erodite clan, named after their ancestor Erodi. The Arelite clan, named after their ancestor Areli. These are the clans of Gad. Their registered troops numbered 40,500. Judah had two sons, and Onan, who died in the land of Canaan. These were the clans descended from Judah's surviving sons. The Shilonite clan, named after their ancestor Shelah. The Perizzite clan, named after their ancestor Perez. The Zerahite clan, named after their ancestor Zereth. These were the subclans descended from the Perizzites. The Hezronites, named after their ancestor Hezron. The Hamulites, named after their ancestor Hamul. These were the clans of Judah. Their registered troops, 76,500. These were the clans descended from the sons of Issachar. The Tola, the Tolaite clan, named after their ancestor Tola. The Puite clan, named after their ancestor Pua. The Jashubite clan, named after their ancestor Jashub. The Shimronite clan, named after their ancestor Shimron. These were the clans of Issachar. Their registered troops numbered 64,300. These were the clans descended from the sons of Zebulun. The Saradite clan, named after their ancestor Sarad. The Elonite clan, named after their ancestor Elon. The Jalilite clan, named after their ancestor Jalil. These were the clans of Zebulun. Their troops registered 60,500. Two clans were descended from Joseph through Manasseh and Ephraim. These were the clans descended from Manasseh. The Machirite clan, named after their ancestor Machir. The Gileadite clan, named after their ancestor Gilead, Machir's son. These were the subclans descended from the Gileadites. The Erizzites, named after their ancestor Ezor. The Helekites, named after their ancestor Helek. The Asrielites, named after their ancestor Asriel. The Shechemites, named after their ancestor Shechem. The Shemedites, named after their ancestor Shemedah. The Heferites, named after their ancestor Hefer. One of Hefer's descendants, Zelophehad, had no sons, but his daughters' names were Mala, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tisra. Remember, we actually started off Wednesday with their complaint because their father had no sons and they should have been entitled to the land. Moses went to the most holy. He said, hey, they said this. He said, they're absolutely right. Just because their father had no sons doesn't mean you skip over the daughters. And a lot of times we don't hear a lot of that stuff. A lot of times we don't hear, matter of fact, we don't hear it because it was removed from the scriptures, was canonized. We see a few things in there about women, but there are so many things that Yahuwah did for the women, for the daughters of Zion who cried out to him, and he caused some crazy type wrath come down upon the people who did things to the daughters of Zion, right? And I think that's a big piece that needs to be brought back, especially for some of the brothers of Zion who tend to take the daughters of Zion for granted and think that they're just there to serve them. No, you're to work together as a team, as a couple, and for leadership's sake, it's the man who Yahuwah set as the head. It's just like the leader of an army, right? There's not two people talking. There is one, and Yahuwah just happened to designate the man to be the leader of his family, right? And it's not making anybody any less important, but it's for order's sake. Not that they should take this power and lord it over the members of their household, their wives, or their children, but for order's sake. You have someone who leads there. You have a command. The husband is like the commanding officer, right? And he leads, but everybody else has a position that's just important because you can't be a leader and you don't have followers. There's no point in making you a leader and you have no followers, right? Yahuwah only gave you this position for order's sake, not for lording's sake, right? And a lot of our brothers, especially those ones who are waking up to the truth, they got that screwed up. I mean, they got the most holy chopped and screwed on that one, right? And that's why y'all heard me say before, wherever there's a place where women are being oppressed, the spirit of the most holy is not there. You hear some people say the Holy Spirit is not there, and he's truly not. Why? Because you are oppressing his daughters. And a lot of people, they don't get that. They don't see that. That place is dead. Yahuwah, the way that the Bible has been taught, it gets me hot and sweating under my arms, right? And I love the brothers of Zion. Yahuwah has filled my house with multiple men, and I will go to war fighting for them, right? But they need to know that they should fight for the women as well and not lord over them and like use them as stepping stones. Yahuwah never intended it to be that way, right? And I think if a lot of the pieces of what's been taken out with what actually happened with the daughters of Zion and how Yahuwah showed, especially when they were holy. Think about Judith, right? We see a couple of them that's left in there like Deborah and Esther, but there were so many more there were so many more who weren't even in positions like of great leadership where they kept themselves pure and holy before the Most High, and He showed up just like that for them. There are so many more stories, and it will boost the faith of the daughters of Zion, and they will begin to stand up for themselves, not begin to bicker and fight and get out of order for order's sake, if you know what I mean. Because I think that's taught a lot of times, that this whole submission part is also taught wrong, right? Not so they can get up, oh, I carry just as much power. We ain't talking about all that, because you have that kind too, and they need to understand how the system works. Everybody plays their part appropriately, right? Everybody plays their part appropriately. Like the ears can't be mad that they can't see, because the eyes were created to see and the ears were created to hear, right? Just like the analogy that I shared with y'all the other day, like something one of my former pastors used to say. He said, the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck, and the neck turns the head wherever it wants to go. You can't have one without the other, right? 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 Okay. I just wanted to say that, because it's just that's something. If we get that part under control, everything is like the power can come back, right? And it's vice versa. You have some women out there that do that to the men, because you have some men of Zion who are meek and they're humble, and they're not going, but it's just, it's wrong either way. You can't do it either way. There must be a perfect balance, and they must flow together, right? And you will see a real power couple, right? That's why we say, like, hey girl, hey. Trina said, funny, all my life I thought they would just wander around the desert for 40 years by themselves. I know, right? That's what I thought, till I'm just like, what? Other people, they had wars and everything, right? Yeah. Okay, so let me go back here. The tribe of Ephraim. These were the clans descended from the sons of Ephraim. The Shulathite clan, named after their ancestor Shulatheth. The Becherite clan, named after their ancestor Becher. The Tahanite clan, named after their ancestor Tahan. This was a sub-clan descended from the Shulathites. The Iranites, named after their ancestor Iran. These were the clans of Ephraim. Their registered troops numbered 32,500. These clans of Manasseh and Ephraim were all descendants of Joseph. These are the clans descended from the sons of Benjamin. The Bilhaite clan, named after their ancestor Bela. The Ashbelite clan, named after their ancestor Ashbel. The Aramite clan, named after their ancestor Aram. The Shuphamite clan, named after their ancestor Shupham. The Huphamite clan, named after their ancestor Hupham. These were the sub-clans descended from the Belites. The Ardites, named after their ancestor Ard. The Namites, named after their ancestor Naaman. These were the clans of Benjamin. Their registered troops numbered 45,600. These were the clans descended from the sons of Dan. The Shuhamite clan, named after their ancestor Shuham. These were the Shuhamite clans of Dan. Their registered troops numbered 64,400. These were the clans descended from the sons of Asher. The Imnite clan, named after their ancestor Imnah. The Ishvite clan, named after their ancestor Ishvi. The Berite clan, named after their ancestor Beriah. These are the subclans descended from the Berites. The Heberites, named after their ancestor Heber. The Malchelites, named after their ancestor Malchiel. Asher also had a daughter named Sarah. These are the clans of Asher. Their troops registered 53,400. These were the clans descended from the sons of Naphtali. The Jezreelite clan, named after their ancestor Jeziel. The Gunite clan, named after their ancestor Guni. The Jezrite clan, named after their ancestor Jezer. The Shilamite clan, named after their ancestor Shelam. These were the clans of Naphtali. Their troops registered 45,400. In summary, the registered troops of all of Israel numbered 1,730. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, divide the land among the tribes and distribute the grants of land in proportion to the tribes' populations as indicated by the number of names on the list. Give the larger tribes more land and the smaller tribes less land, each group receiving a grant in proportion to the size of its population. But you must assign the land by lot and give land to each ancestral tribe according to the number of names on the list. Each grant of land must be assigned by lot among the larger and smaller tribal groups. And we read right there that I'm not Levi, I'm about to read about Levi, but Judah had the biggest number. They had over 70,000 leaders in their clan, right? Okay. The tribe of Levi. This is the record of the Levites who were counted according to their clans. The Gershonite clan, named after their ancestor Gershon. The Kohathite clan, named after their ancestor Kohath. The Merarite clan, named after their ancestor Merari. The Libnites, the Hebronites, the Mahalites, the Mushites, and the Korahites were all subclans of the Levites. Now Now Kohath was the ancestor of Amram, and Amram's wife was named Jochebed. She was also a descendant of Levi, born among the Levites in the land of Egypt. Amram and Jochebed became parents of Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. To Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they burned before Yahuwah the wrong kind of fire, different than he commanded. Remember, we read about them. I think it was Wednesday as well. Remember that holy fire came out in two strands, broke into four, got both of them, two in each nostril, burnt their souls out of their flesh. Woo, but it left their flesh unscathed. From the men from the Levite clans who were 1 month old or older numbered 23,000. But the Levites were not included in the registration of the rest of the people of Israel because they were not given an allotment of, I'm sorry, they were not given an allotment of land when it was divided among the Israelites. So these are the results of the registration of the people of Israel as conducted by Moses and Eleazar the priest on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. Not one person on this list had been among those listed in the previous registration taken by Moses and Aaron in the wilderness of Sinai. For Yahuwah had said of them, they will all die in the wilderness. Not one of them will survive except for Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. All right, beautiful people. So let's go ahead and jump on over here into the legends of the Jews. We just read numbers 25 and 26. And we pick back up here in the volume 3, chapter 3, and the section is the gifts of the princes. All right. And if you have the same book, it's page 301. Okay. When Moses called on the people to make their offerings for the erection of the sanctuary, it sorely vexed the princes of the tribes that he had not summoned them particularly. Hence, they withheld their contributions, waiting for the people to give according to their powers, so that they might step in and make up the deficiency, and all should observe that without them the tabernacle could not have been completed. But they were mistaken, for in their ready devotion the people provided all needful things for the sanctuary, and when the princes of the tribes perceived their mistake and brought their contributions, it was too late. All that they could do was provide jewels for the robes of the high priest, but they could no longer take a hand in the erection of the tabernacle. On the day of the dedication, they tried to make partial amends for letting slip their opportunity by following the advice of the tribe of Issachar, renowned for wisdom and erudition, to bring wagons for the transportation of the tabernacle. These princes of the tribes were no upstarts or men newly risen to honor. They were men who, even in Egypt, had been in office and exposed to the anger of the Egyptians. They had also stood at Moses' side when he undertook the census of the people. They now bore as an offering to Moses 6 covered wagons, fully equipped, and even painted blue, the color of the sky, and also 12 oxen to draw the wagons. The number of wagons as well as of oxen had been set with purpose. The 6 wagons corresponded to the 6 days of creation. The six mothers, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, and to the six laws that the Torah prescribes exclusively for the king, to the six orders of the Mishnah, and to the six heavens. The number of the oxen corresponded to the 12 constellations and to the 12 tribes. Moses did not at first want to accept teams, but Yahuwah not only bade him accept them, he also ordered him to address the princes kindly and to thank them for their gifts. Now, Moses even thought that the Shekinah had deserted him and would rest on the princes of the tribes, assuming that they had direct communication from Yahuwah to make this offering to the sanctuary. But Yahuwah said to Moses, if it had been a direct command from me, then I should have ordered thee to tell them. But they did this on their own initiative, which indeed meets with my wish. Moses now accepted the gifts, not without misgivings, fearing lest a wagon should break or an ox die, leaving the tribe or that unrepresented by a gift. But Yahuwah assured him that no accident should occur on either wagon or ox. Yes, a great miracle came to pass in regard to these wagons and oxen, for the animals live forever without ailing or growing old, and the wagons likewise also endure to all eternity. Moses then distributed the wagons among the Levites so that the divisions of the sons of Gershon received two wagons with the transportation of the heavy portions of the tabernacle, boards, bars, and similar things, whereas the former, having the lighter portions, had enough with two wagons. The third division of Levites, the sons of Kohath, received no wagons, for they were entrusted with the transportation of the holy ark, which might not be lifted upon the wagon, but it was to be borne upon their shoulders. David, who forgot to observe this law and had the ark lifted upon the wagon, paid heavily for his negligence. For the priests who tried to carry the ark on the wagon were flung down to the ground. Ahithophel then called David's attention to the need of the following example of Kohath's sons who bore the ark on their shoulders through the desert, and David ordered them to do the same. And that's why Uzzah died. Remember? Because it just should have never been up there. The priest should have been carrying it on their shoulders, right? If it was in its rightful place, it would that whole scene would never happen, right? But the princes of the tribes were not content with having provided the means for transporting the sanctuary. They wanted to be the first on the day of dedication to present offerings. And with the wagons, Moses was doubtful whether or not to permit them to bring their offerings, for these were of an unusual kind that were not ordinarily permissible. But Yahuwah bade him accept the dedication offerings as of the princes, though Moses was still in doubt whether to let all the 12 princes make their offerings on the same day or to set a special day for each, and if so, in what order they should make their offerings. Yahuwah thereupon revealed to him that each one of the princes of the tribes were to sacrifice on a special day, and that Nahshon, the prince of Judah, was to make the start. He was rewarded in this way for the devotion he had shown to Yahuwah during the passage through the Red Sea. When Israel, beset by the Egyptians, reached the sea, the tribes among themselves started quarreling who should go first into the sea. Then suddenly Nahshon, the prince of Judah, plunged into the sea, firmly trusting that Yahuwah would stand by Israel in their need. Nahshon's offering was one silver changer that had been fashioned for the sanctuary, the weight whereof was 130 shekels, on one bowl of equal size but of lighter weight of 70 shekels, both of them full of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering. Furthermore, one spoon of 10 shekels of gold, full of incense, on one. I'm sorry, it should be one young bullock, the pick of his herd, one excellent ram, and one lamb a year old, these three for burnt offering, and a kid of the goats for a sin offering, to atone for possible uncleanness in the sanctuary. These sacrifices and gifts Nahshon offered out of his own possessions, not out of those of his tribe. Yahuwah's acceptance of the offerings of the princes of the tribes show how dear they were to Yahuwah, For at no other time was an individual allowed to offer up incense as Nashon and his fellows did. They also brought sin offerings, which is ordinarily not permitted unless one is conscious of having committed a sin. Finally, the prince of the tribe of Ephraim brought his offering on the seventh day of the dedication, which was on the Sabbath, though ordinarily none but the daily sacrifice may be offered on the Sabbath. The offerings of all the princes of the tribes were identical, but they had a different significance for each tribe. From the time of Jacob, who foretold it to them, every tribe knew his future history to the time of the Messiah. Hence, at the dedication, every prince brought such offerings as symbolized the history of his tribe. And that, my dear friends, has been forgotten because we just now waking up remembering. Not just now, but Yahuwah has been waking up people over the years. Like I started seeing people talk about this, like waking up around, I think like the earliest video I've seen of people waking up was probably like, and this is by doing research recently by, I want to say it was, I think the earliest year that I've seen, it could have been more than, I think it was like 1989, right? That's just from me doing research when I realized more people. And I looked at some of the older videos. I'm like, wait a minute. Yahuwah been waking his people up for years. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, shoot. We at the tail end of this awakening. Like, we about hit, like, it's literally up. Like, because it was people, I believe Yahuwah started waking up people earlier to begin preparing the ones that would be waking up after them to kind of got them. Hey, listen, this is what we found out so far. It's like people that break away from the underground, they get away through the Underground Railroad. You already got people that's been freed. When you get there, they can take you through the roads. Look, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. They give you a rundown of everything. You just waking up like you just trying to pull yourself together. It's like you're trying to bring all your faculties together because that's how it was when you started waking me up about 2 years ago, 2018. I never forget it. It was like I had been blind, but it was like my eyes have some people never slept. We just weren't. Ooh, you're right about that, Tiffany. You're right about that. Some people never slept. We just weren't listening to them. You're right about that. Because yeah. But listen, it was like my eyes had been open. It's like, where have I been all my 39 years of life? Like, where am I actually living? Like, I went through this whole thing. Like, we talking about somebody sick. I was sick. Like, what? What? I'm like, Father, what? Like, now I know you've been talking to me all these years, but now you just open my eyes to another whole level of paying attention to what's really going on. And I as I look at it now, I can clearly tell that Yahuwah was waking me up even from my early years, but me not still recognizing stuff. But as where I'm at today, I can clearly look back over my last 41 years of life and can pinpoint everything through my life that kind of brings me to this day. Yes, grand rising. So I'm like, what? So all of these things, I'm like, wait, what? That was a lie. Wait, what? That's really like, and then I had went through this whole period of anger and stuff, right? And y'all hear me talk about the hate rules, right? If y'all don't know who the hate rules are, when you first wake up, you get the Googling and YouTubing and stuff, right? So the first time you Google like who are the real Hebrews, what tends to pop up is the alphabet people, right? The IUP, ISUBK, and all the ones, right? The hate rules, the ones that kind of like stand on the corner. Now they teach us some truth, but they doing it in anger, and it's a lot of incorrect teaching that they're spewing out of their mouth. Right? I can't listen to them. I can't listen to them too long. They are brothers, but they kind of got stuck in that whole anger portion, right? They haven't progressed past that anger part, right? And it was like I was there, I want to say for like a week. I say maybe like a week where I was like extremely angry, and I wanted to like slaughter everybody who wasn't me. And you will say, whoa, Nelly, calm down a little bit now. I got all this under control, right? And it's like he said, listen, you can't stay here. But it's like I can see the phases that he take me through. But when I look at them, I can clearly see that they got stuck there in that phase, like, and they haven't progressed. Like, as long as I seen I kind of look through some of the videos. I can never watch them all, but just kind of look at how long they've been doing this, and you see some of the same phases. I'm like, you've been stuck in that, like, at that level of growth for years, where I've progressed through it literally in a week, because sometimes you get angry, and the more angry you get, the less you can hear the voice of the Most Holy speaking to you, right? And so they just kind of stay there in that anger, and they stand in that post faithfully in that anger. And other people who are passing through that, you got to pass through that anger stage, right? Because it's a part of the awakening. It's like you waking up, you trying to come to yourself. You was blind, and now it's like the light hurting your eyes. Like, what? Oh, you know how you sleep and somebody come and cut the light on? It's like, wait, what are you doing? Cut the light off, and it hurts your eyes because it's so sudden, right? And your eyes have to begin to adjust to it. It's just like that. You have to begin to adjust to it. And if you don't stay close to the Most Holy, you're gonna find yourself stuck in that anger level, right? And it's impossible for you to progress further, right? Because he's trying to move you, you want to stay right here. And by you staying here, you're also prohibiting others to get past you, especially those who coming after you, who are watching you, that think this is the place to stop, this is the place to be. Nope, that is not your stopping place. That's the anger. Deal with it. You gotta, listen, when we're hurt, just think about normal things. When we're hurt and something truly hurts us, if we don't deal with that anger, we carry that anger forever. And you know what? Hurt people, right? And so now you begin to hurt people with the hurt that you've experienced, right? And you create more catastrophes in the world. You got to deal with that hurt, with all that stuff that was done, and it's it's sickening, and it makes you want to throw up, and it's like, seriously, you ready to go out here and take knives and start slaughtering people, cutting them at the necks. And it's just is but you can't do it, you're gonna go to jail. So you find some other outlet, cursing people out and all these other things. And when the Most Holy come down here, he gonna do this to you, and everything you did to us is gonna happen to you. And that's all you constantly spew out, although we know that it's true. But we ain't gotta stay there and do that. The Most Holy gonna take care of it. Everybody gonna get the opportunity. Hey, yeah, I'm sorry. Father, how do I get this right? My ancestors did this to your people, but let me repent for the sins of my ancestors. Everybody gonna have the opportunity to do that. Some people just not gonna do that, and they gonna have to deal with the butt end of the wrath of the Most Holy, right? I feel sorry for those that are over there, but also in that, some of Israel is gonna be taken away with that butt end of the gun, right? Because you're being stuck at a place where he told you to keep on moving. So now you getting the butt of that gun right to your forehead, bro. The rebels in the wilderness, he gonna deal with you face to face. Yahuwah is coming for you. So you got to get it together. Keep on moving. You got to progress past the anger and just keep moving. And just then let the light adjust to the light and let it cleanse you, right? And just keep on moving, and it just get better. It gets better day after day, but you're exposed to new levels of truth, and it's like you have to learn how to constantly adjust, right? You have to constantly adjust to your surroundings, knowing that the Most Holy is in control and he's guiding you. If he's guiding you, okay, let's go, So, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. Okay. So, hold on. Where I stop, y'all? Oh, right. Okay, hold on. Let me just go back here. Finally, the prince of the tribe of Ephraim brought his offering on the seventh day of the dedication, which was on the Sabbath, though ordinarily none but the daily sacrifice may be offered on the Sabbath. The offerings of all the princes of all the tribes were identical, but they had a different significance for each tribe. From the time of Jacob, who foretold it to them, every tribe knew his future history to the time of the Messiah. Hence, at the dedication, every prince brought such offerings as symbolized the history of his tribe. And that's why I got started talking about this, that we're just now remembering what Yahuwah has promised to us up until the time of like the they call it the Messianic age, or the time when Yahuwah himself. Remember, Yahuwah is the Messiah of Israel. When it talks about the Messianic age, it's talking about Yahuwah himself, our Messiah, because he is a Messiah. Yahuwah is Israel's Messiah. Israel's deliverer, right? The time of the Messiah, or the time of our Messiah, Yahuwah coming to live with us. Let's make sure we focus and understand it, and bring it into proper alignment so we can understand. So when we hear Messiah, we're not constantly thrown off by what we hear taught wrong, right? So remember, when you hear Messiah, think of Yahuwah. That'll be good to help you remember. Messiah, oh, that's Yahuwah, the most holy himself, the deliverer, the redeemer of Israel. Oh, our Savior, that's Yahuwah, the most holy himself, right? Because he said, me only. Nobody gonna come get you but me. Remember that. It's him alone. Nashon, the prince of Judah, bought a silver charger and a silver bowl, the one to stand for the sea, the other for the mainland, indicating that out of his tribe would spring such men as Solomon and the Messiah, who would rule over all the world, both land and sea. The golden spoon of 10 shekels signified 10 generations from Perez. Okay, let me also say something. Somebody that may say that you also got to think about it when it talks about the Messiah coming through the line. Whoever Yahuwah chooses to use, the human fleshly person who he chooses to use, just like he chose to use Moses, the human fleshly person, also considered Messiah, but not the Messiah, the deliverer, the one who leads them out. That's what it's referring to. Remember, they didn't worship Moses. Moses didn't worship Moses. Moses worshiped Yahuwah. Moses told everybody else, here's the deliverer, you worship him. He just happened to choose me, the human fleshly person, here for y'all to see and follow, right? Okay, let's just make sure we understand that. The golden spoon of 10 shekels signified the 10 generations from Perez, son of Judah, to David, first of Judean kings, all whose actions were sweet as the incense contained in the spoon. The three burnt offerings, the bullock, the ram, and the lamb, corresponded to the three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whereas the kid of the goats was to atone for the sin of Judah, who sought to deceive his father with the blood of a kid. The two oxen of the peace offering pointed to David and Solomon, and the three small cattle, the peace offering. The rams, the goats, and the lambs corresponded to the descendants and the successors of these two Judean kings, who may also be classified in three groups: the very pious, the very wicked, and those who were neither pious nor wicked. On the second day of the dedication appeared the prince of the tribe of Reuben and wanted to present his offering, saying, "'Tis enough that Judah was permitted to offer sacrifice before me. Surely it is not time for our tribe to present our offerings." But Moses informed him that Yahuwah had ordained that the tribes should present offerings in the order in which they moved through the desert. Remember, in the order that they moved through the desert, Judah always leads. So you remember, I mentioned it before. You hear that saying, Judah is going to lead the charge, because every time it was time for them to move, pack up, and move to another place in the wilderness or wherever, they moved in the order of their tribes. And the line leader is Judah. Judah always rolls out first. And Levi is in the middle of the two half sections carrying the ark and the tabernacle and all its furnishings, right? It's always to be that way. Judah always leads the charge, right? Just in case you didn't understand that. But Moses informed him that Yahuwah had ordained that the tribes should present offerings in the order in which they moved through the desert, so that the tribe of Issachar followed Judah. This tribe had altogether good claims to be among the first to offer sacrifices. For in the first place, this tribe devoted itself completely to the study of Torah, so that the great scholars in Israel were among them. And then too, it was this tribe that had proposed to the others that bringing of the dedication offerings. As this was a tribe of erudition, its gifts symbolized things appertaining to the Torah. The silver charger and the silver bowls correspond to the written and the oral Torah. Both vessels alike are filled with fine flour, for the two laws are not antagonistic, but form a unity and contain the loftiest teachings. The fine flour was mingled with oil, just as knowledge of the Torah should be added to good deeds. For he who occupies himself with the Torah, who works good deeds, and keeps himself aloof from sin, fills his Creator with delight. The golden spoon of 10 shekels symbolizes the two tables on which Yahuwah with his palm wrote the 10 commandments, and which contained between the commandments all the particulars of the Torah, just as the spoon was filled with incense. The three burnt offerings, the bullock, the ram, and the lamb, correspond to the three groups of priests, Levites, and Israelites, whereas the kid of the goats alluded to the proselytes. For the Torah was revealed not only for Israel, but for all the world. And a proselyte who studies the Torah is no less than a high priest. The two oxen of peace offering corresponds to the oral and the written Torah, the study of which brings peace on earth and peace in heaven. After Nashon, the temporal king, and Nathanael, the spiritual king, came the turn of Eliab, tribe of Zebulun. This tribe owed its distinction to the circumstance that it followed commerce, and through the profits thereof was enabled to maintain. The tribe of Issachar, which entirely devoted to study, could not support itself. The charger and bowl that he presented to the sanctuary symbolized the food and drink with which Zebulun provided scholar tribe Issachar. The spoon dedicated the border of the sea, which Jacob in his blessing had bestowed on Zebulun as his possession, and the 10 shekels of its weight corresponded to the 10 words of which this blessing consisted. The told oxen point to the two blessings which Moses bestowed upon Zebulun, as the three small cattle, the ram, the goat, and the lamb, correspond to the three things which Zebulun's possessions distinction before all others: the tuni, the purple snail, and the white glass. After the tribes that belonged to Judah's camp division had brought their offerings, followed Reuben and the tribes belonging to his division. The gifts of the tribe of Reuben symbolize the events in the life of their forefather Reuben. The silver charger recalled Reuben's words when he saved Joseph's life, whom the other brothers wanted to kill, for the tongue of the just is as choice silver. The silver bowl from which was sprinkled the sacrificial blood recalled the same incident, for it was Reuben who advised his brothers to throw Joseph into the pit rather than to kill him. The spoon of the 10 shekels of the gold symbolized the deed of Reuben, who restrained Jacob's sons from bloodshed. Hence, the gold out of which the spoon was fashioned had a blood red color. The spoon was filled with incense, and so too did Reuben fill his days with fasting and prayer until Yahuwah forgave his sin with Bilhah, and his prayer was set forth before Yahuwah as incense. As penance for this crime, Reuben offered the kid of goats as a sin offering, whereas the two oxen of the peace offering corresponded to the two great deeds of Reuben, the deliverance of Joseph and the long penance for his sin. Just as Reuben interceded to save his brother Joseph's life, so did Simeon rise up for his sister Dinah when he took vengeance upon the inhabitants of Shechem for the wrong they had done to her. Hence, the prince of the tribe of Simeon followed the prince of the tribe of Reuben, as the sanctuary was destined to punish unchastity among Israel. So were the gifts of the tribes whose sire figured as the avenger of unchastity, symbolical of the different parts of the tabernacle. The charger corresponded to the court that surrounded the tabernacle and therefore weighed 130 one 100 130 shekels, to correspond to the size of the court that measured 100 cubits, of which the tabernacle occupied 30. The bowl of 70 shekels corresponded to the empty space of the tabernacle. These two, the charger and the bowl, were filled with fine flour mingled with oil, because in the court of the tabernacle were offered up meat offerings mingled with oil, whereas in the tabernacle was the showbread of fine flour and the candlestick filled with oil. The spoon of 10 shekels of gold corresponded to the scroll of the Torah, and the tables with the 10 commandments that rested in the ark. The sacrificial animals, the bullock, the ram, the lamb, and the kid corresponded to the 4 kinds of curtains and hangings that were used in the sanctuary and that were fashioned out of the hides of these animals. The 2 oxen of the peace offering pointed to the 2 curtains, the one in front of the tabernacle, the other in front of the court, whereas the 3 kinds of small cattle that were used for that were used as offerings corresponded to the 3 curtains of the court, one to the north, one to the south, one to the west of it, and as each of these was 5 cubits long, so were 5 of each kind presented as offerings. Y'all still with me? Hold on. Ooh. Okay. You still got a little bit more to read. Oh, and we at 55 already. We may not finish this today, so I may have a mark in the book. As Simeon, sword in hand, battled for his sister, so by force of arms did the tribe of Gad set out to gain the land beyond Jordan for their brethren. Therefore did their prince follow Shelumiel, the prince of Simeon, with his offerings. This tribe, so active in gaining the promised land, symbolized in its gifts the exodus from Egypt, which alone made possible the march of Palestine. The charger of weight of 130 shekels alluded to Jochebed, who at the age of 130 years bore Moses, who had symbolical connection with the bowl, for he was thrown into the Nile. This bowl weighed 70 shekels, as Moses extended his prophetic spirit over the 70 elders, and as the bowl was filled with fine flour, so did Moses' prophetic spirit in no way diminish, because the 70 elders shared in prophecy. The 3 burnt offerings recalled the 3 virtues Israel possessed in Egypt, which were instrumental in their deliverance. They did not alter their Hebrew names, they did not alter their Hebrew language, and they lived a life of chastity. The sin offerings were to atone for the idolatry which they were addicted to in Egypt, so that Yahuwah did not permit their deliverance until they had renounced idolatry. Woo. Now, if that's the case, now we need to start calling everybody. Hey, and we've been saying this, hey, y'all worshiping idol gods, y'all better stop it, because Yahuwah is not coming till we turn away from that. Right? Listen to this. Listen. The sin offerings were to atone for the idolatry which they were addicted to in Egypt, so that Yahuwah did not permit their deliverance until they had renounced idolatry. And if you still clinging on to some of the teachings of the church, you are still clinging on and loving idolatry. But Yahuwah say, I hate, and you shall not do this, right? I'm the only one you worship, the only one you talk to. You need advice, you come to me. You don't go to nobody else, you come to me. You my people, I'm your pappy. Come to me. Let me stop playing. The sin offerings were to atone for the idolatry to which they were addicted in Egypt, so that Yahuwah did not permit their deliverance until they had renounced idolatry. The 2 oxen of the peace offering corresponded to Jacob and Joseph, for whose sake Yahuwah had delivered Israel out of Egypt. They bore, besides, 15 heads of small cattle as sacrifice, because Yahuwah was mindful of his vow to the 3 patriarchs and the 12 fathers of the tribes, and released Israel out of bondage. A special distinction was granted to the tribe of Ephraim, for Yahuwah allowed their prince to make his offering on the Sabbath, a day on which otherwise none but the daily offerings were allowed to be offered. This distinction of the tribe of Ephraim owed to its ancestor Joseph in recognition of his strict observance of the Sabbath as governor of Egypt. The gifts of his tribe represent the history of Jacob and Joseph, for the descendants of the latter owed much to Jacob's love for his son Joseph. The charger alluded to Jacob, the bowl to Joseph, and as both these vessels were filled with fine flour mingled with oil, so too were both Jacob and Joseph very pious men, and the course of their lives ran evenly. The spoon symbolized Jacob's right hand, which he had laid on the head of Ephraim to bless him. The spoon was filled with incense. Jacob laid his right hand upon Ephraim and not upon his elder brother Manasseh, because he knew that the former was worthy of the distinction. The three burnt offerings corresponded to the three patriarchs, whereas the kid of goats stood for Joseph, whose coat had been smeared with the kid's blood. The two oxen of the peace offering indicated the two blessings that the sons of Joseph had received from their grandfather Jacob, and the three kinds of small cattle that were offered as peace offerings corresponded to the three generations of Ephraim that Joseph was permitted to see before his death. Joseph not only observed the Sabbath, he was also chaste, not to be tempted by Potiphar's wife, and he was faithful in the service of his master. Yahuwah therefore said to Joseph, "Thou hast kept the seventh commandment, thou shalt not commit adultery, and hast not committed adultery with Potiphar's wife. And thou hast also kept the following commandment, the eighth, thou shalt not steal. For thou didst not steal neither Potiphar's money nor his conjugal happiness. Hence there will come a time when I shall give thee the reward due to thee, when hereafter the princes of the tribes will offer their offerings at the dedication of the altar. The two princes among thy descendants shall be one after the other, offer their offerings, the one on the seventh and the other on the eighth day of the dedication, as a reward, because thou did observe the seventh and the eighth commandments. The prince of the tribe of Manasseh now followed that of Ephraim, trying like the preceding, symbolically to represent Jacob's and Joseph's lives. The charger, 130 shekels in weight, indicated that Jacob, at the age of 130 years, migrated to Egypt for the sake of Joseph. Oh, you staying a little long here with me today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, blessed be the Most Holy. All right, Mr. Murphy. The bowl of 70 shekels. Oh, you ate it last. I was about to say, check the microwave, but I forgot you ate it last night. The bowl of 70 shekels corresponded to Joseph, who caused 70 souls of the Hebrews to migrate to Egypt. The spoon of 10 shekels of gold indicated the 10 portions of land that fell to Manasseh. The three burnt offerings corresponded to the three generations of Manasseh that Joseph was permitted to see before his death, whereas the kid of the goats recalled Jair, the son of Manasseh, who died childless. The two oxen of the peace offering indicated that the possessions of the tribe of Manasseh were to be divided into two parts, one on this side of the Jordan and one beyond it. The three kinds of small cattle for peace offerings corresponded to the triple attempt of Joseph to influence his father to favor Manasseh, whereas the 5 head of each indicated the 5 daughters of Zelophehad, the only women who, like men, received their shares in the distribution of the promised land. Oh, yeah. Okay. As the sanctuary stood first in Shiloh, Joseph's possession, then in Jerusalem, Benjamin's possession, so did this tribe with its sacrifices follow Joseph's tribes. The charger signified Rachel, the mother of Benjamin, who bore him to Jacob when he was 100 years old. And in memory of this, as well as of Benjamin's attainment of 30 years when he came to Egypt, the weight of the charger amounted to 130 shekels. The bowl indicated the cup Joseph employed to discover his brother's sentiments toward Benjamin. And both vessels, charger and cup, were filled with fine flour, for both Joseph and Benjamin's lands were found worthy of being cited for Yahuwah's sanctuary. The spoon of then shekels of gold full. I thought it was supposed to be 10. Boy, I tell you, they should have called me to edit this. They're the typos. I'm just like, I get a little perturbed with uh, wrong English, right? Okay, it's okay. The spoon of 10 shekels of gold, full of incense, corresponded to the 10 sons of Benjamin, all of whom were pious men. The three burnt offerings corresponded to the three temples erected in Jerusalem, Benjamin's property, the temple of Solomon, and the temple of the exiles returned from Babylon, and the temple to be erected by the Messiah. The sin offering, the kid of the goats, points to the building of the temple by the wicked king Herod, who atoned for his execution of the learned men by the erection of the sanctuary. The two oxen of the peace offering corresponded to the two deliverers of the Jews that sprang from the tribe of Benjamin, Mordecai and Esther. The 5 heads of each of the 3 kinds of small cattle for a peace offering symbolize the triple distinction of Benjamin and his tribe by 5 gifts. The gift of honor that Joseph gave his brother Benjamin 5 times exceeded that of all his other brothers. Then Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He gave Benjamin 5 changes of raiment. So too did the Benjamite Mordecai receive from Ahasuerus 5 garments of state. Okay, y'all. I think we're gonna stop here for today because I thought we might be able to finish all of it today, but this section is really long. So I'm gonna stop here for today. Pick up here tomorrow. It's the last. Mark your book if you got it. It's this last little paragraph on page 304. We're gonna pick it up. In his blessing, Jacob likened Dan to Judah. That's what we're gonna start. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. We started here in the Legends of the Jews on page 301, and we stopped on page 304. We'll pick that back up tomorrow. We'll finish that section, and we read Numbers 25 and 26 today. All right, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reading. It is Friday, February 12th, 2021, day 75 of year 3 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 3-year consecutive day count, day 744. And we rest on the Sabbath days and the Sabbath feast days because Yahuwah has commanded us to. And remember, those days are not counted in this 744-day count. I keep saying I'm gonna count. Actually, go back and count the other days. It's easy to add up. I just haven't sat down to do it. For each year, I know to add at least 52 days, right? And that's just including the Sabbath. Then we got to add the feast day Sabbath days, right? So there's a few more. But we want to make sure we don't double count. Well, I do need to actually sit there and do a little bit of math because I want to make sure I don't double count some Sabbaths because like the first and the last day of unleavened bread and the first and the last day of tents actually falls on a Sabbath, right? So we don't count them days because we'll be counting twice. You get what I'm saying? Because they already the way Yahuwah got it set up, they already fall. The first and the last, they already fall on Sabbath days, which makes them high holy Sabbath days. You know, it's like a double Sabbath, but it the math works out. But that's why I actually got to sit down there and do it. But I know I need to at least add 52 days per year to the count because we got 52 weeks in a year. And each week there's one rest day. So by the time we get through a whole year, there's 52 days that we have rested. So we've been doing this for, well, not 3 whole years. We're into the 3rd year. So 52 and 52, first and second year, what's that? 104. So add an extra 104 days. Plus where we're already at in the 3rd year, we're well into the 900 day count, y'all. We really are. We're probably close to 1,000 days, right? Just consistently reading the scriptures, right? Just 3 chapters a day, y'all. 3 chapters a day. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and do the blessing. Go ahead and pull it up. It's good to track stuff because you get to look back and see your progress. Oh, yeah. Like I go back and look at some of my earlier videos, I'm like, I still smack my lips, and you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Elijah even said, he said, you say, you know what I'm saying, so much in your video. I said, really? And so when I went back, I said, ooh, I said, that's right. So I try to be mindful, make sure I'm not using too much slang, and I'm trying to be proper and stuff. And yeah. Right from Tidewater Park. Now. We may have stayed there for a little period of time.
That's where you from.
TWP.
Exactly. You know where you from.
Don't nobody know about that except for people in Virginia. Okay. All right, y'all. So the blessing is found in Numbers chapter 6. And what you know, you don't know about it. You just heard about it. You ain't even from here.
I know what's hood around these parts. I've been here for over 15, 16 years. What you talking about? But you ain't never been there. You done drove through there. That's all you want to do going TWP. I'm happy y'all came up out of there, for real. Most people don't.
Yeah.
Sure. The strong survive like roaches in that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, blessed be the most holy. He keeps an eye out over his people.
Yes.
Right? All right, y'all. Blessing. Numbers chapter 6, verse 22 through 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is a Nazarite vow, and a man or woman can take it. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his son, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. Won't be there long, TWP. All right, LeVar. Okay, beautiful people. So if there are no questions, checking up here, nothing on YouTube, no questions. Just double checking real quick. On Facebook. All right. No questions. Nothing. All right, beautiful people. But that's it for today. So tomorrow is Saturday, 7:30. Remember the weekends we sleep in like 15 minutes later. You know, if you sleep at that time, but you might already be woke. But anyway, we're gonna start 15 minutes later, as always. Saturdays and Sundays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless the Sabbath actually falls on one of those days, then we don't show up because we're still in the bed asleep. We're gonna rest that day, right? But throughout the week, Monday through Friday, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, weekends, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, beautiful people. I'm done running my mouth. We out here. Enjoy your Friday.
I'm just gonna drop the file song. So I need you to follow me up there and drop it off.
Okay.